Hey, what's up, YouTube? I want to try something a little different today since I'm always being decapitated by this camera. And so I tried to maybe put it in a different location. So, yeah, hopefully this will work out a little better. Well, it's St. Patrick's Day, and although I thought I wouldn't be making a video, here I am. What I'd like to talk about today hopefully won't take as much time as what I talked about yesterday. And what it is this coronavirus thing has kind of got me thinking about something, and I'm not exactly sure how to put it into words without being too offensive. You know, I've pretty much said all I really need to say about the subject in another video. But one thing I'm really glad about is the fact that I don't have a big family. And it just makes me really mad whenever I see people that do, especially women. It's like, what are you thinking? You know, why in freaking 2020 now are women still resigning themselves to this role as baby maker and housewife? And, you know, it just makes me so mad because it's like, looks like everybody who has a significant blogspot account or any kind of a blog on the internet, it looks like there's some kind of a stay-at-home mom that's homeschooling a bunch of kids. And it just makes me so mad, because it's like, why? Why don't they have more people like me, that make accounts like that and maintain them? And the other thing that I really hate about, people like that, it's like they want to blog like every day, all the time, about every least little aspect of their children's lives and theirs while their children are little, okay? And here's the catch. While their children are little, I mean, they're to the point of grossing you out with obviously their poop stories, which a lot of times that's how I even find their blogs in the first place, which, I've already talked about that extensively in so many videos. But, it's to the point of TMI, which means too much info, when the kids are, say, under 5, okay? But then as the kids get older and they actually become more of a full human being, so to speak, and then they go through the elementary years, whether they're in school or they're being homeschooled, and then they get into junior high and then puberty, where they actually begin to look like an adult. For some strange reason, their moms go on hiatus and they forget how to blog. And I just don't understand that. Really, I just don't get it. And the other thing I don't get is, like, if you're going to do that, say when your kids get 12, 13, 14 and older, you just completely stop updating your blog. It's like, why the hell don't you just delete it? There is such a thing as deleting it. And, or privatize it to the point where people aren't reading freaking blogs about 2-year-olds crapping their pants who would now be freaking 15, 16, or even in college. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's pretty freaking embarrassing if you ask me. Like I say, I'm just so glad, so glad the internet just wasn't around in the 80s and it wasn't very big in the 90s, when my sister was little. So, yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous. I hate it because it just every time I see those kinds of blogs and, websites of moms that are just, regardless of all the advances that women have made in the way of birth control and being able to decide that they don't want to be pregnant. And in my case, thankfully I've had a hysterectomy and can't, praise God. So, I mean, with all the advances and all the other alternatives that women have, that they can do other things with their lives, why in the hell does it look like the only people that really do anything with blogs on the internet, why is it that those kind of people always seem to be moms that have a ridiculous number of kids? You know what I'm saying? These Mormon people and just extreme fundamentalist Baptists and people that are just, of the mindset that if you don't think exactly like them when it comes to religion, well, you're going to hell. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I mean, it just really, every single time I run across a blog like that, it just makes me really mad, because it's like, why? Why do women put themselves through that? Um, and in my case, this epidemic, like I say, has really got me thinking about it. And I'm thinking about how, yeah, life is going to suck for me for the next few weeks. But at least I only have to think about myself, and to a lesser extent my father. And if I go see my mom, well, I guess her too. And she's only got herself and a cat to think about at this point. And I just think about how, despite all the hardships I may have to go through, yeah, my life is going to suck, but it could be so much worse if I had freaking 1, 2, 3 or more kids to also think about, in dealing with this. You know what I'm saying? Like figuring out, if I'm not a homeschooler, how, they're going to continue their schooling, and, how they're going to be fed, and, what if they get sick, and you know what I'm saying. And of course, you're much likelier to get sick, not only from the germs that your kids bring home, but from the stress and the lack of sleep. Because never underestimate sleep. I mean, your immune system runs on a battery named sleep. And not getting 7 or 8 hours of sleep may not seem very important to these super moms or whatever the hell they think they are, but your immune system runs on a battery named sleep. And getting enough sleep is every bit as important as hand washing and eating the right foods and doing everything else right. If you don't get enough sleep, I mean, you're just really setting yourself up to be very unhealthy when it comes to fighting off illness. Because if your immune system doesn't have the energy to fight off an illness, well, you get sick. I mean, you're going to be really, really sick. Myself personally, knock on wood, I've always, ever since I've become an adult, it's like my annual cold rate has pretty much, dropped, like plummeted, like, and to the point, like I've stated before, I get about one cold a year or every 2 years, like about once every 18 months, I might get a mild head cold. And thankfully, knock on wood, I've also not been to a doctor for a cold or any complications thereof since I was 9 years old and in the 3rd grade, which I guess I should have been in the 4th grade, but oh well. But, I mean, I consider myself pretty healthy. I try to do everything right as far as that. But, I mean, sure, I've been to the doctor for other things. I mean, that goes without saying. I mean, you can't get a hysterectomy without going to the doctor. But, and of course, I go to the dentist. But as far as the common cold or a flu shot or anything related to respiratory health, the only thing I really have is like asthma. And I think a lot of that has to do with the carpet in this apartment and a number of other things. But, so yeah, I mean, as far as common colds, I do everything in my power not to, I act like this most of the time. I don't have close contact with people, and I don't drink after people, and I don't like, touch my face without washing my hands and all that. But, just, and one of the biggest things that I do to avoid getting sick is, of course, not having any kids. I mean, one of the many reasons, that I never wanted any kids, in addition to the way it destroys your body, and of course all the diapers and pooping incidents you may end up having to deal with, it just, having a kid, it just makes you so much more susceptible to getting sick and to being more sick than you would have otherwise been if you were like childless and virginal and living all alone, or as close to alone as you can get, you know what I'm saying? It's like you're just so much more susceptible because of not only your kids bringing home germs, but also, your kids stressing you out to the point where your immune system is just not as strong as it could have been, had you never gotten pregnant and never given birth. And so, yeah, I mean, I just don't understand why people want to have big families. Why don't they want the lifestyle where they don't have to drive the freaking 15-passenger van, which, I mean, I could never do it. you know. And it just makes other people so mad because it's like they have to figure out, you know, how to park in such a way that you don't hit their car. But yeah, it's just, I mean, I don't understand it myself. You know, why people have these ridiculous sized families, you know, when they're educated and they know, you know, how to make it to where their life isn't like that. You know, it's like, why? Why would you want your life to be so complicated?